In this video, we're going to discuss the word problems and quadratic equations, and there are no new concepts here, just applying whatever we've learned in the previous videos. So let's jump right into the questions. Over here, I've tried to pick the questions which from all the different types of questions here. Um, and the trick in these questions is that you just have to practice them and apply the concept and you have to understand the question and form the equation on your own. So there's no solid fixed technique, which is why I've picked lots of different questions. This will be a very long video, so you can just see how I'm attempting to solve them and like figure out how to do them on your own then. So the first question says that in a class test, the sum of Shefali's marks in mathematics and English is 30. Had she gotten 2 more marks in mathematics and 3 marks less in English, the product of her marks should have been 210. Find her marks in the two subjects. So the first thing you always do, you see what the question is asking you to find. It's asking you to find her marks in the two subjects. Okay. So now they've told you that Shefali's marks in mathematics and English is 30. So let's consider that. So Shefali's marks in mathematics and English is 30. So if Shefali's marks in mathematics as X, marks in mathematics equal to X. Okay. Therefore, the marks in English will be equal to 30 minus X, right? First step. All right. This is the first step you always do. And then it says, had she gotten 2 marks more in mathematics, so according to the question, 2 marks more in mathematics and 3 marks less in English. So 3 marks less is 30 minus X minus 3. The product of her marks would have been 210. So you see how you systematically approach the question. We first start on the given, then according to the question, they always say if, then. So if 2 marks more in mathematics, X plus 2, 3 marks less in English, 30 minus X minus 3, the product of a mark should have been 210. And now you got an quadratic equation in one variable and you just simplify and solve. I'll be solving them really fast, and you should also note how I'm solving them so that you can also not waste time on your calculations. So let's simplify this. So it's X plus 2 times 30 minus 3 is 27 minus X is equal to 210. Opening the brackets, you have 27X minus X square plus 27 times 254 minus 2X equals to 210. Always prefer to have an X with the positive coefficient. So you have X square. When shifting it to that side, 27X minus 2X is 25X. When you shift it to the other side, it becomes minus 25X. And by the time you reach 10th, you are expected to be this fast in your calculations. So please practice if you can't do this mentally. And then you have 210 minus 54. So you can just quickly work out what 210 minus 54 is in the side. 156. So your scroll down, quadratic equation x square minus 25x plus 156 is equal to 0. Now this is the point where you stop and check if your calculations are correct. So let's just quickly see that 27x minus x squared plus 54 minus 2x is equal to 210. Then when I transpose, I get x squared minus 25x plus 156 is equal to 0. So then you have to use MTS or the quadratic formula. And once again, you're advised to always use MTS because quadratic formula takes a lot of time to calculate squares. You do not have a calculator. So 156. So again, over here with practice, you'll be able to identify it faster. So even I don't remember the roots right now. So even I'm going to show you what I would do in the exam situation. So I see 156. So I'll first quickly think of what two basic numbers multiply up to 156. So if I divide this by 4, because it's divisible by 4, 4 threes are 12, 3 nines are it. So it's 39 into 4. Okay, now 39 is 13 into 3 into 4. How do I get 25 with this? 13 and 12. These are our two pairs. So it's x squared minus 13x minus 12x plus 156 is equal to 0. And then simple x minus 13 minus 12, x minus 13 is equal to 0. And then you have x minus 12 times x minus 13 is equal to 0. So in this case, your x can either be equal to 12 or 13. Let's just verify if our calculations are correct. So what have they told us? So if our marks in mathematics is 12, okay, marks in English should be 30 minus 12, which is 18. Okay. If I add 2 marks in mathematics, they become 14. I subtract 3 marks in English, they become 15. And 14 times 15 is, and therefore 6. 1 5 is a 5, 1 1 is a 1. 0, 11, 210. Exactly. Second answer we got was 13, right? So if I take my Shefali's marks in mathematics as 13, then English will be 30 minus 13, which is 17. And 2 marks more in mathematics is 15. 3 marks less here is 14. Again, you get 15 into 14, and you get your answer 210. So her marks in the two subjects. Now watch how you write the answer, okay? Let me just erase all of this from here. Okay. So these calculations as well, they can go so that it's clear, right? So that means that an X with the marks in mathematics, right? So we can say Shefali's marks in maths if Shefali's marks in maths equal to 12, English equal to 12, 30 minus 12, which is 18. If marks in maths equal to 13, then in English, they equal to 17. Now, this is your final answer. So we can now move on with the next question. Let's put this slightly lower. Okay. And let's zoom this question, make it bigger, and give us some more space. Okay, and you can see these circles. These are the questions I struggled to solve last year when I was solving the paper. So I think that's why I picked these questions specifically. So let's see how they go. Okay. So the center of a rectangular lawn of dimensions 50 meter into 40 meter, a rectangular pond has to be constructed. So the area of the grass surrounding the pond would be 1184 meters square. Find the length and the breadth of the pond. So they've given us the pond, right? And 1 second, yeah. And they've asked us to find the length and the breadth of the pond. And they've told us the dimensions are 50 meters into 40 meters. And a rectangular pond has to be constructed right in the middle. So this is the pond that has to be constructed in the middle of the garden. Okay. And so we have to find the length and the breadth of that pond. And they've told us that the area of the grass surrounding the pond is 1184. Okay, so just take a few minutes, carefully figure out what the questions told you. So let me just draw my own pond here once, my own figure here once. So let's say this is our pond. Okay, and now around this we have our full garden, right? There we go. And we've been told that the area of this garden outside, this is 1184. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that if we count the entire area of this rectangular garden as A, and we count the area of this pond within it as B, then they've told us that A minus B is equal to 1184, right? So let's first form an equation for that. So what do we know? We know that A is the dimensions are 50 into 40, so it's a rectangle, so A is equal to 50 into 40. B is what we have to find, right? Rectangular pond has to be constructed. So we don't know the dimensions of that. So you know that this is minus B, which is the area of this part, should be equal to 1184. That means that B is equal to 50 into 40 minus 1184. So that is 2000 minus 1184. And it's meters square. Okay. Now they've told us that we have to find the length and the breadth of the pond. Okay. And okay, another thing that we know is it's that if we consider the length of the pond as L and the breadth of it as B, okay, then how can we relate it to this 50 here? Wait, I think the length is a longer. Okay, wait, it doesn't really matter, but how will we relate it to 50 here and 40 here? Okay, so this distance is something here. This distance is something here. This distance is something here. This distance is something here, right? So that means that what they've told us is that the pond has to have some dimensions which are obviously less than 50 in breadth and less than 40 in length. And you have to subtract the same thing from both the times. So its length is 40 minus, if we consider this distance as x, this is also x, this is x, and all of them as x. The length would be 40 minus 2x, right? So if I consider b as 40 minus 2x as a length, and the breadth as 50, right? So it's 50 here. And over here, once again, we have to subtract x here and x here as well. So it's 50 minus 2x, right? And this is equal to 2000 minus 1184. Understood? So let me just re-explain what I just said. We know that this pond lies in the center of it, okay? And we know that it will be at a fixed distance from the actual rectangular garden. And if we consider that fixed distance as x, it'll be x all around, right? So if it's x here, that means our length of the pond will be 40 minus this x and 40 minus this x, that's 40 minus 2x. And the breadth of just this part will be this entire 50 minus this x and minus this x. Okay? And now that we've gotten this quadratic down, we can solve it. And the numbers are very big. So we'll solve it carefully. Notice I still haven't subtracted this because you see you'll get a 2000 here and you can cancel it out directly. So 40 into 50, 2000 minus 80x minus 100x plus a 4x square is equal to 2000 minus 1184. Cancel the 2000 out from both sides, and you have to have, let's just simplify this, it's minus 180x plus 4x square equals to minus an 1184. Then bring it in the ax verb is bx plus c equals 0 form, so 4x square minus 180x plus an 1184 is equal to 0. Okay, now a step to normally do. Okay, wait, I think we need some more space, so let me just give that space. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so it's always better if you can see a common factor, just simplify it and factorize out the common part. So over here, you can say that everything is divisible by 4. So just divide each term by 4. So you get x square minus 4 fours are 16, 45x plus 4 twos are 8, 3, 4 nines are 36, 2, 4 6 are 24 is equal to 0. And now you have 296. Again, you see big numbers, don't get daunted. And here's what I'll create a box here and show you what I would do and what you should do as well. Right? So you have 296 to get. What is 296? It's divisible by 4. What do you get when you divide it by 4? You get 4 sevens are 28 and 4 fours are, you got 74, right? If I'm not wrong. 4 sevens are 28 plus 4, yeah, 74. So it's 74 into 4. Still, you don't see any 45 relationship. Let's break this down. 74 is made out of a prime number, which is 37 into 2 into 4. 37 into 8. There we go, 45. It's that easy. X square minus 37x minus 8x plus 296 is equal to 0. And then it's just simple. X out common, x minus 37 minus 8 out common, x minus 37 is equal to 0. So you get x minus 8 times x minus 37. So x is either equal to 8 or it's equal to 37. Let's go back to the question and see what that means. So, yeah, okay. So if your x is equal to 8, okay, let's first take two cases because always remember in a word problem, there's a chance, there's an option that you have to eliminate one of the roots you got. So let's say my value of x, which I've calculated, is 8. Okay? If my value of the x I've calculated is 8, that means that what is my length and what is my breadth? My length, which I said is 40 minus 2x. So my length will become, let me just write it here. Length will become 40 minus 2 times 8. 40 minus 16 equals to 24, right? Breadth, I said, equals to 50 minus 16 equals to 34. No issues here. But now what if I take 37? Okay. My length is equal to 40 minus 2 times 37. But can you get a length which is negative? You cannot, right? So that's why you have to reject 37. And your only correct option is x is equal to 8. And they've asked you to find the dimensions, find the length and the breadth of the pond. Length and the breadth of the pond is 40 minus 2x and 50 minus 2x. So as we calculated earlier, the length is 24 and your breadth is 34. Yeah, okay. Seems to be correct. Moving on to the next question. Let's just give us some space. Right, okay. So what have we been told here? This is an interesting question, okay? It doesn't have, I don't think the calculations are that difficult here. Okay, wait, I think you need to have this part as well. It's a continuation. The questions are on two separate pages. So let's have both these pictures and let's try to first carefully understand what the question is asking us to do. So we've gotten in an auditorium, the seats are arranged in rows on the column. So I'll just make a rough sketch here. So we have an auditorium. Okay. And our seats, they're arranged in rows and columns. So we can like divide this into rows. Okay. We can divide this into columns, right? And in each column, you have a seat. In each column, we have a seat here. Okay. That's what they mean, right? And okay. And the total number of seats, it's easy to visualize it this way. It's just a number of rows times number of columns, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3. In this case, it's 4 into 3. But obviously, in the question, it's different. So whenever you draw a diagram, it becomes easier to visualize because now that you know it's each arranged in rows and the columns, the number of seats are just equal to the number of rows and the number of columns. And they've told us that the number of rows was equal to the number of seats in each row. Number of seats in each row. So number of seats in this row is 1, 2, 3, 4. And they said the number of rows are equal to that. So I think let me just add one more here so it agrees with the question. Okay. So now number of rows is equal to the number of seats in each row. When the number of rows was doubled, okay, so right now what have they told us? Right now they told us that if there are n rows, okay, and what does this mean? If it's equal to the number of seats in each row, what are the number of seats in each row? Aren't they just the columns? Exactly. So they've told us that the number of rows is just equal to the number of columns because the number of seats in each row is just the columns. So right now they've told us that if there are m rows, there are m columns. Okay. Then they've said when the number of rows is doubled and the number of seats in each row is reduced by 10. So right now the number of rows is now right now the number of seats is m square, right? M into m. And remember, number of seats will always remain m square. No matter how you change the dimensions, number of seats will not change, right? So when the number of rows was doubled, so right now the number of rows was m. So let's say it now becomes 2m. And the number of seats in each row is reduced by 10. Number of seats in each row is the number of columns. Is reduced by 10, so that's m minus 10. The total number of seats increased by 300. Okay, so they've told us that the number of seats are actually increasing by 300. So m square was the number of seats originally. It's now equal to m square, original number of seats, plus 300. Okay, now let's see when we simplify this and solve what happens. 2m square minus 2 times 10, 20m equals m square plus 300. M square minus 20m minus 300 is equal to 0. Okay, so now if we factorize this, pretty simple. You can see directly 300 is just 30 into 10. So you can just have this as m square minus 30m plus 10m minus 300 is equal to 0. And you get m times m minus 30 plus 10 times m minus 30 is equal to 0. And then you can get m plus 10 times m minus 30 is equal to 0. So now you get two values for your m, and that's m is equal to either 30 or it's equal to minus 10. Now, once you've gotten this, can the number of rows which we took as m originally, can that ever be negative? Number of rows is positive, so it has to be something positive, right? So this is why we reject minus 10. Okay, and always remember in your answer sheets, always show that you've rejected minus 10 and give a reason why, because otherwise the teachers may cut marks for that. So the first they asked us the number of rows in the original arrangement. Number of rows in the original arrangement was m. So part one, 30 rows. Okay. Now for part two, they've asked us the number of seats in the auditorium after rearrangement. So we already said the number of seats after rearrangement is m square plus 300, right? So part two, we just have to find out m square plus 300, which m was 30, so 30 squared 900 plus 300, which equals to 1200. This was a slightly tricky question, so I'm just going to go over what I did again. They told us that seats are arranged in rows and columns. The number of rows was equal to the number of seats in each row. That's just a very tricky way of saying that number of rows is equal to number of columns. And total number of seats in a grid is just a number of rows times the number of columns. So it's m square, right? And then they told us when the number of rows is doubled, so number of rows was m, it becomes 2m, and number of seats in each row is reduced by 10, so that's m minus 10. Then the total number of seats increased by 300. So the total number of seats earlier were m squared. So now there'll be m squared plus 300. And then you form the quadratic, which is 2m times m minus 10 equals to m squared plus 300. And you simplify it and you get your answer. You get a negative one as well, minus 10, which is rejected because number of rows cannot be negative. And then for the second part, the vast total number is c, which is just m squared plus 300. And there we go. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. This is a question that is very likely to come in your school papers. I would say that out of all the questions you've done yet, this question has the highest probability of coming. So let's see how we'll approach this and how we'll solve this. So let's just give us some space. And okay, so what have we been told? We've been told that some students are planning a picnic. Okay. The budget for the food was 480 rupees. As 8 of them failed to join the party, the cost of the food for each member increased by 10. How many students went to the picnic? Okay, so this brings me back to a point which I thought I would say at the beginning. So a problem that many students often face is what do you take X as? Okay. And it changes question by question. But normally, what you will see is that whatever you have to find, that's what you have to take as X. Like, for example, if I scroll up in this question right here, we did not take X as length and the breadth of the pond. That's why it changes. That's why I'm trying to expose you to all types of questions so that you know when what question comes, what you have to do, right? So over here, let's see. Let's start by saying that we'll take the number of students as X. Okay. So that's the first step. Okay. Then they've told us the budget for the food was 480. Okay. Now, when some people are planning something, obviously each one wants to pay a fixed amount of money, right? They'll pay equal halves. So originally, uh originally how much would each person pay? Person would pay 480 by X, right? Because you have 480 rupees over X people. So obviously, each person will pay a fixed amount, equal amount, that's 480 by X. Now they've told us 8 people. So according to the question, right? According to the question, see, it always if then. If first they told us it's this, if 8 people fail to join the party, then cost for food each member increased by 10. So it's the if and then on basis you have to form the quadratic. So 8 of them failed to join the party, number of people is X minus 8, right? And the cost of the food for each member increased by 10. Okay. So the cost of food for each member increased by 10. So if only X minus 8 people joined, They each paid a price of 480 by X minus 10. Okay. So, right. So X minus 8 people, and the cost of food of each member increased by 10. So they have to now pay 480 by X minus 10. Okay. And okay. And yeah, okay, wait. So it's times this is equal to 480, right? Because the total amount they have to pay remains the same and it remains 480. So x minus 8 into 480 by x minus 10. Originally, they were playing 480 by x. Oh, sorry, it increased by 10. Right? So originally, they were playing 480 by x. Since less people joined, obviously, you'd have to pay more each. But the total amount of food that they had remained the same. Okay. So they didn't like lessen the food. Total amount of food they had remained the same. So total cost of the food was the same. It is that each person had to pay a slightly more amount. Total amount is still 480. Always remember, find the stuff which does not change in the question. 480 is the budget of the food. It doesn't say that the budget of the food changes, so you know that you have to use 480 in your final answer. Each person, what they normally paid is increased by 10, and there. Now this is a quadratic. This is a very common question that comes, so watch. Okay. So now, okay. So the couple of ways of solving this. How do you deal with this denominator which has an x? So I would suggest that you just make like you may take this LCM and send x on the other side. So you have x minus 8 times 480 plus 10x equals to 480x, right? Now when you open up these brackets, you get 480 times x plus 10x square minus 8 into 480 minus 80x equals to 480. Cancel the 480s out from both sides. And now you have 10x squared minus 80x minus what is 480 into 8. So I'm literally solving the questions in front of you as I would solve them in a paper. Okay. So you know what you're supposed to do, right? I'm not using a calculator. I'm not memorizing the answers to before. It's just me solving them live, right? 8 are 64, 4 are 32, 38. Yeah. Okay, now I said if you see a common factor, you see all these numbers ends with a 0, just divide it by 10. So you get x squared minus 8x minus 384 is equal to 0. Again, big numbers, 384. How am I supposed to find the common factor? Not that difficult. Don't get psyched out by it. It's just simply prime factorization of the 384. So let's give ourselves some space. And now what is 384 equal to? We multiplied as 48 into 8, right? Now, if I break up 48, it's 6 into 8 into 8. I didn't just get 8 here. So I'm just going to break this out into smaller and smaller bits. Okay. So then we have, if I break this up into 3 into 2 into 2 to the 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, right? 8, 8, 6. All prime factors, and we would get 8 somehow. So let's do some mixing and matching. So 6, 12, 24. Okay, so if we just take these first four terms, and if we take these last four terms, we get 8, these are 24, and 16. 24 and 16 gives us 8. So we know it's 24 times 16. Always attentive like this. I know people who do use the quadratic formula for this, but just imagine it's a lot of heavy calculations. So if you can find the common terms, just use that. So I said it was 18 times 6, right? Oh no, what did I say? 24 times 16. 24 times 16, yeah. Minus 24x plus 16x minus 384 is equal to 0, right? Minus 8x and we get our 384. So it's x times x minus 24 plus 16 times x minus 24 is equal to 0. So you have x plus 16 times x minus 24, which is equal to 0. And your x is either equal to 24 or minus 16. Once again, can the number of people be negative? No. So you eliminate minus 16, giving a reason for that. So total number of people, which we were asked to find, equals 24. So now it's always a good idea to test and check if what we've gotten is correct. So 24. So according to the question, so budget for the food was 480. 480 by 24. You can see directly it's just 20, right? Because 20, 20. As 8 of them failed to join the party, so 8 of them failed to join the party, there's 16 left, right? And the cost of each member increased by 10. So 20 plus 10 is 30. 16 into 30 is 480. So it matches. So this is our solution. Always go back, test it. Very good idea. And don't do this when you're rechecking your paper. Do this exactly after you complete the question. Okay, next question now. As you can see, there are lots of questions. It's going to be a pretty long video. But out of the entire syllabus, I would say that these questions, when they come, these are the ones which require maximum analysis and thinking. Normally, like a normal question of this, nothing too difficult, and a normal question of any other topic, this one will require considerably more analysis. And after a certain point, it's just how much you're able to apply. But if you see people solving more questions, I think it helps a lot, or at least helped me. So let's start. Okay, what's happening? Okay, moving on to the next question. A trader bought a number of articles for 1200. 10 were damaged and he sold the rest at rupees 2 more than what he paid for, thus clearing a profit of 60 rupees in the whole transaction. Taking the number of articles he bought as X, form an equation in X and solve it. Okay, so here they've told us what you to take as X, and let's do that. So number of articles equals X. Okay, so he bought a number of articles for 1200. So now what is the cost per article? So that's 1200 divided by X, right? 10 were damaged and he sold the rest at rupees 2 more. So ATQ, number of articles he now has, 10 are damaged. So it's X minus 10. You see how I always break this down? And he sold a each for 2 more than what he paid for it, right? So 10 were damaged and he sold each of the rest at 2 more than what he paid for it. So he paid 1200 by X for it. So it's 1200 by X plus 2. Okay. And now they've told us that this is 1200, right? I told you always identify the values that don't change. This is 1200. It should be right, 1200. But he said it clears a profit of 60 on the entire transaction. That means that he gets an additional profit of 60 rupees. So if the number of articles weren't damaged, if every single one was sold to them, he would have probably created gotten a greater profit. But 10 are damaged, and it's saying he made a profit of 60 rupees. So if he bought them at 1200, he is selling them for 1260. So even after 10 were damaged, he's making a profit. So it's always better to just like get the situation, make sure that anything you've written does not make sense. Because these questions only they do make sense to some extent. So let's solve this again. X in the denominator. Let's deal with that. X minus 10 times 1200 plus 2x equals to 1260x. Let's open the brackets. That's 1200x plus 2x square minus 12,000 minus 20x equals to 1260x, right? So you have 20x and you have 1200x as well, right? 1200x minus plus 2x square minus 12,000 minus 20x. Okay, so let's just get to all the terms together. 2x square minus 20x plus 1200x minus 1260x minus 12,000 also 0. So that's 2x square minus 20x. So that becomes minus 1220x, and that's 1260x. So I think you get a minus 40x here, right? No, wait, what? Minus 80x, if I'm not wrong. That becomes minus 1280, and that's 1200 minus 80x minus a total 12,000. So 0. Divide the entire thing by 2 because you see a common term, x square minus 40x minus 6,000 equals to 0. Now again, same process. How will you express 6,000 as something to do with 40? And let's just go through some possibilities. 6,000 is equal to 30 into 20, right? Now, but we need a bigger value. 60 into 6 is also equal to what? 600 into 10, which is 60 into 100. And there we go. 60 into 100. Oh, wait. Yeah, 60 into 100 there. The x square minus 100x plus 60x minus 6,000 equals to 0. So you have minus 40x here, and you get this multiplied up to 6,000. So you have x times x minus 100 plus 60 times x minus 100 is equal to 0. So if x plus 60 times x minus 100 times x minus 100 equals to 0. So x can either be equal to 100 or minus 60. Once again, price can never be equal to negative. Cancel that. Normally, you cancel the negative value in these quadratic equations. So your x is equal to 100, number of articles. And what have they asked you to find? That only, right? Form an equation in x and solve it. So number of articles. Now let's verify if what we have solved is correct. So we got x as 100, right? So he brought a number of articles for 1200. That means he's paying 1200 divided by 100 because number of articles is 100. So he's paying rupees 12 per article. Okay. 10 were damaged. So he's left with 100 minus 10, which is 90. Okay. And he sold the rest at 2 more than what he paid for it. So 90 times 14, right? So this is equal to 14 times 9 was at 36, 126, right? That's 1260, which is exactly what we needed because he cleared a profit of 60 rupees. And there we go. Systematically approach these problems and you shouldn't face any problem. There. Let's move on to the next question now. Okay, let's give ourselves some space. And yes. Okay. So by increasing the speed of a car by 10, yeah, by increasing the speed of a car by 10 kilometers per hour, the time of journey for a distance of 72 kilometers is reduced by 36 minutes by the original speed of the car. Okay, whenever you see car, distance, speed, time, normally you always take speed as x. Okay, and that's what we'll do in this case as well. So, the speed of the car, so original speed is x, right? Speed equals to x, distance equals to 72 kilometers, and is reduced. Yeah, okay. That's the only constants we have, right? Now, according to the question, the speed of the car is increased by 10, so it's x plus 10 now. And the time of the journey of 72 kilometers is reduced by 36 minutes. Okay, so now what do we know? We know that speed equals to distance upon time. So our time is equal to the distance upon speed. Okay, this is what we'll be using here, right? So time is equal to distance upon speed. So we've been told that the time is reduced by 36 minutes, right? So this is our distance overall is 72 kilometers. That remains the same. So 72 kilometers is our distance. The time which we originally took, um, okay, wait. The original distance is 72 kilometers per hour. Speed originally was x, right? This time was 36 minutes more. So minus what you've taken now, speed is increased by 10 kilometers per hour, right? Time is decreased. Now this is equal to 36 by 60, right? And now we can solve this because it's in hours. Everything is in hours. So that's what we will do. So we can cross multiply and solve this. So if I take 72 out common, I get x plus 10 minus x by x square plus 10x equals to 36 by 60, which if we simplify this, that is 4 times 9 by 15. 9 by 15, which is 3 over 5, right? Yeah, 12 threes are 12 fives are. Yeah. Okay. Now you can cancel this further. This is 1s are and this is 2s are 6, 1, 24s are. And yeah. So it's 24 times 10 is equal to x square plus 10x over 5. Okay. Now we have 240 into 5 is equal to x square plus the 10x. Now we can form a quadratic with this. X square plus 10x minus 24 into 5 is, I think, 120. So it's 1200. And this is equal to 0. 1200, how can we express it as? 40 to 30. Directly you can see that. So it's x squared plus 40x minus 30x minus 1200 equals to 0. And now if we simplify this further, we get x times x plus 40 minus 30 times x plus 40 is equal to 0. Now I think we may need some more space here. So let's just give ourselves some more space. I think that much should be sufficient. So x minus 30 times x plus 40, which is 0. So our x is equal to 30 or minus 40. Reject minus 40. Why? Because speed cannot be negative. Velocity can be negative, but that's physics. Okay. So our speed of the original speed is 30 kilometers per hour. Okay, and that's what they've asked us to find, right? Find the original speed. So let me just go through what we did in this question again, because it's also a very frequently asked question. So original speed of the car, speed of the car is increased by 10 kilometers per hour. New speed is x plus 10. Distance is the same, and time is equal to distance upon speed. And they've told us that the time is reduced by 36 minutes. So the original time he took was 72 by x, because original distance is 72 and original speed is x. New distance, still 72, speed x plus 10, 72 by x minus 72 by x plus 10 is equal to 36 by 60, because it's been reduced by that much. And then you can solve that quadratic. You get two roots, which are 30 and minus 40. You reject minus 40 because speed cannot be negative. And we get original speed to be 30 kilometers per hour. Let's now move on to the next question. Give ourselves some space to solve it. Okay, this is a very interesting question. It's a board question, and you must have heard people talking about it, or you must have seen it before. So, yeah. Okay, let's increase the size of the question here. And yeah, okay. So Sunil can row a boat at a speed of 5 kilometers per hour. It takes her 1 more hour to row the boat to row it upstream and to return the downstream. Find the speed of the stream. Okay, so in these boat questions, there's one simple logic here to understand. So that is the speed of a stream and there's the speed of the boat. Okay, speed of the stream, that is the speed at which a body moving in the stream will move it. So it'll automatically, the speed will itself move anything with that speed. Okay. Now, if we have a boat in it, that itself has a speed of some 5. So that means that when it's moving with the stream, it'll move with a speed of 5 plus x. When it's moving against the stream, it'll move with a speed of 5 minus x. So this is what you have to understand. Okay. So now that you have that basic understanding, let's move on with the question, what it says. We have to find the speed of the stream in this question. Okay. So we have to find the value of x according to the diagram I drawn. So she can row a boat at a speed of 5 kilometers per hour. But it takes her 1 more hour to row the boat 5.25 kilometers upstream than to return downstream. Obviously, if you're rowing the boat upwards, it'll take you more time because you're flowing against the stream. And if you're moving downwards, you're flowing with the stream, so your speed will actually increase. Okay, so let's see what is the speed downstream. So speed downstream is equal to the speed of her plus the speed of the stream, right? Let's say speed of stream is equal to x, right? Now speed upstream is very logically equal to 5 minus x, right? Now they've told us that it takes 1 hour more. So again, we know that time is equal to distance upon speed because we've been given time is 1 hour more, right? So let's equate this now. So original time which we took was distance, which is 5.25 by her original speed, which was, so first she's going, it took her that much time more upstream. So upstream, she had a speed of 5 minus x. Okay. Then when you subtract this from 5.25 by 5 plus x, right? Because now she's moving downstream, so speed is increased, so she'll take less time, and this is equal to 1 hour because she took 1 hour less. So now if we solve this, we can take out 5.25 out common here, and we can write this as 5 plus x minus 5 minus x divided by 5 minus x times 5 plus x is equal to 1. Now, I think we'll need slightly more space here, so let's do that. There we go. So Oops, what's happening here? Yeah, okay, there. So now let's simplify this. So we have 5.25 times 5 plus x minus 5 plus x is equal to identity 25 minus x square, a plus b times a minus b. And we have 5.25 times 2x is equal to 25 minus x square. And now before this all this, we get 5.25 times 2, 10.5x is equal to 25 minus x square. If you want, multiply the entire equation by 2 so you don't have any points. Easy for calculation. So that's 21x equals to 50 minus 2x square, right? Now let's get this in the form we want it to be. So that's 2x square plus 21x minus 50 is equal to 0. So how do we write 21 and get 100 somehow? That's 25 times 4, 2x squared plus 25x minus 4x minus 50 equals to 0. And we have simple, if we can't take 2 out common, so if we take this x out common, we get 2x plus 25. And if we take, again, 2 out common from here, 2x plus 25 equals to 0, right? Minus 4x minus 50. And now x minus 2 times 2x plus 25 equals to 0. Once again, you get one positive root and one negative root. And once again, we can ignore the negative root because speed is always positive. So our x is equal to 2. So speed of the steam in still water, which is what we had to find, that is 2 kilometers per hour. Okay, so I think let's move everything a bit down now. Okay, we have 3 more questions to do. And now these are the slightly more trickier ones. So let's see how we'll go with them. I think, yeah, now we're dealing with the time and the time work quadratic questions. Nothing to worry about. Even these will be approached in the same way as normal. So let's start. Okay. Let's increase the size of the question. There we go. So two water pipes together can fill a tank in these many hours. The pipe with a large diameter takes a certain time more than the one with the smaller diameter to fill the tank. Find the time in which each pipe can fill the tank separately. Okay, so we've been told that let's say the time taken by one of those tanks is X. So let's say that two tanks, A and B. A fills the tank in X time. Therefore, B will fill it in sometime less than that. So X minus 10 time. Okay. Find the time in which each pipe can fill the tank separately. Okay, so now you remember from previous classes the time work relationship, how it works. So if this person can fill a tank in X hours, what is the amount of work he can do in 1 hour? That is 1 by X, right? Similarly, the work that B can do in 1 hour, that's 1 by X minus 10, right? And now these together, they can fill it up in 9 3 by 8 hours, right? So that means that if this person works for 1 hour and this person works for 1 hour, they can do this much work. And the total amount of time they've given us is 9 8 has 72 plus 3 75 by 8, right? So the amount of work which you have to do per hour is just 8 by 75, right? Reciprocal like what we did here. So work required to be done per hour is 8 over 75, right? So time taken by this is x, time taken by this is x minus 10, time taken overall is 75 by 8 hours. However, this is the time taken overall. We have to find the time taken in 1 hour. Time taken in 1 hour would be the reciprocal, which is 8 by 75. Here, the time taken in 1 hour is 1 by x, and here it's 1 by x minus 10. So now we can equate it, right? We know that these two, the amount of work these two do in 1 hour should be equal to the number of work which has to be done in 1 hour. So if we add this up, this should be equal to 8 over 75, right? And now we can solve this. So that's what? X minus 10 plus x by x squared minus 10x, taking an LCM, is equal to 8 over 75. I'll re-explain this concept on how I got 8 over 75 in the end. First, let's get our answer once, and then we can go back to that. So we have, if we simplify this, we have 2x minus 10 times 75 equals to 8 times x squared minus 10x, right? 275s are 150x minus 750 equals to 8x squared minus the 80x, right? Let's get the quadratic 8x squared. 80x minus 150x, that's minus 230x plus 750 equals to 0, right? 180 minus 80 minus 150 minus 230 plus 750. Yes, okay, that matches. Once again, we can divide everything by 2. 230 is not divisible by 4. So let's do that. 4x squared minus 115x plus 2 3s are 6, 1 7s are 14, 1 5s are is equal to 0. We need some more space here. Right. Okay. So now we have okay, now we have to get a pretty big root. This is 4 times 375. This will take us some time to figure out. So let's just try that. 4 into, so what's happening? 4, why is it lagging? Yeah, 4 into 375, right? And we just somehow get 115 from this. So now let's make this into 5. So 4 into it's 5 times 5 sevens are 35, 2, 5 fives are. So it's 375 is 5 into 75, right? So now we are to somehow get 1115, right? So this 20 times 75 is not enough. It's still too small, right? So now how else can we make this slightly bigger? So if I write this as 2 into 5 is 75. Now 75 times 2 is 150 times 10 is still not enough. Right? So we have to make some more changes. So I think if we make this as 2 into 5 into 25 into 3, right? So that becomes 4 times 3, 12 times 125. Is that working? It's still not working. So what else can we do? Um, let's see. 15 times 2, 30 times 50. 15 times 2, 30. 15 times 4, 25 into 400. Oh yeah, 25. Yeah, so we get 25, 100 into 15. 100 into 15 gives us 375. So we can just simply write that. See, 25 into 2, we take this in one place, and we get take 5 into 3 in the other place. So 50 into 200, and that's 115. See, even I'm solving the questions right in front of you, and this is exactly the process even I follow. So yeah. So let's write this down. So it's 4x squared. Yeah, what is it? 100 into 15, right? So minus 100x minus a 15x plus a 375 is equal to a 0. Now we can just toss out all this rough work we've done right here. And yeah, let's get rid of this. And let's move on with our question now. Now we got in this in picked place. So now we just factorize. So we can take 4x out common, x minus 25, take minus 15 out common, and we can get another x minus 25, which is equal to a 0. So now we get 4x minus 15 times x minus 25, which is equal to 0. So my x is either equal to 25 or it's equal to 15 over 4. But now what have they told us? They've told us that by the time in which each pipe can fill the tank separately. So if we have one tank, if so we've taken time taken for A as 25 hours, right? And the other one was supposed to be okay. So now what is 15 by 4? 15 by 4 is roughly something like 4 threes are 12, 3.6 or something around of that sort, right? 3 point something, 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 right? But we took one tank is X and the other tank is X minus 10. That means that tank B according to this would be 3 minus 10. Once again, time cannot be negative. So we can eliminate this option. So let me just write it down formally and show you what I mean. So let's say that if time taken by A equals to 15 over 4, time taken by B will be equal to 15 by 4 minus 10, which is equal to a negative number, which is why time cannot be negative. So we can reject 15 by 4. But if you check that with 25, that won't be the case, right? So which is why our final answer is time taken by A is 25 hours and time taken by B is 15 hours. So time taken by A is 25 hours and time taken by B is 25 minus 10, which is 15 hours. Now let me re-explain what I did in the beginning because it may have been slightly confusing. So basically, I said that tank A takes X hours to fill, and the smaller one takes X minus 10 hours to fill, right? Now, what is the amount? So this is their overall time they take. Like, let's say I tell you I can finish the work in 2 hours and my friend can finish the work in 3 hours. Does that mean if we both work together, we'll finish the work in 5 hours? No, it doesn't mean that. If we both work together, we should finish it in less than 2 hours because we're both doing work simultaneously. So you can't add the time taken to do the complete work together. So what we do is we find the work done in 1 hour, right? So if it takes x hours to do the entire work, the work done in 1 hour is the reciprocal of that, which is 1 by x. Similarly, for b, it's 1 by x minus 10. Again, overall time taken is 75 by 8 hours. But then again, we can't compare the overall times, right? Because again, I'm repeating my example. If I say I can fill a tank in 10 hours and my friend Nakshatra can finish a tank in 15 hours, then does that mean that both of us can fill it together in 25 hours? No, it doesn't mean that, right? So that's why we take the time that work done in 1 hour as 8 by 75 and we add that and we get a quadratic and we solve it. Once again, this is a slightly tricky quadratic to find the terms to factorize. You'll follow the process I followed, and if you work with a cool mind and you practice a lot, you shouldn't find any problems, and you should be able to solve it. Right. Let's now move on to the next question. So let's make this, yeah, okay. So to fill a swimming pool, two pipes are used. So it's another pipe question. If the pipe of the larger diameter is used for 4 hours and the pipe of the smaller diameter is used for 9 hours, only half the pool can be filled. How long would it take for each pipe to fill the pool separately if the pipe with the smaller diameter takes 10 hours more than the pipe with the larger diameter to fill the pool? Let's break down the question into smaller parts. Two pipes are used. Let's again call them pipe A and pipe B. Okay. Now, if the pipe with a larger diameter is used for 4 hours, so we're using this for 4 hours, let's say pipe A is larger, right? So 4 hours larger. And pipe B is used for 9 hours, right? So 9 hours, then only half the pool can be filled. So only half the total work is done, right? So find how long would it take each pipe to fill the pool separately if the pipe with the smaller diameter takes 10 more hours than the pipe with the larger diameter. So if the pipe with the smaller diameter takes 10 more hours than the pipe with the larger diameter to fill the pool. So, so that means that if the smaller diameter takes X hours, then if the larger diameter takes X hours, the smaller diameter takes X plus 10 hours, right? Because smaller diameter takes 10 hours more. Okay. Now that we've gotten that in place, they've told us that according to the question, if I work my larger diameter for 4 hours, right? So the amount of work done in 1 hour is 1/4, right? Okay, but before we get into that, let's see. Okay. Let's reread the question once. We have to fill a swimming pool. We have two pipes. One is a larger diameter, one is a smaller diameter. One can fill the pipe in X hours, the other one requires X plus 10 hours. If one of the pipes is used for 4 hours and the other pipe is used for 9 hours, then only half the pool is filled. Okay, so work done in 1 hour is 1 by X for pipe A, and work done in 1 hour for pipe B is 1 by X plus 10. Now they say I use this for 4 hours. So work done in 4 hours is 4 times this. Work done in 9 hours is 9 times this. And now they told us once I add these two, only half the total work is done. Right? What does that mean? That means that only half the work is done, right? Normally the entire work was done. What would I write? I would write one because that means that the entire work is done and I can just move on. I can just do that. But it's been given to us that only half the work is finished. So that means that this amount of work is equal to 1/2 of the total amount of work which has to be done, right? Because this is the work done here, this is the work done here, this is the half the work which has to be done, right? So now let's solve this. So we have 4 by x plus 9 over x plus 10 equals to 1/2. Now let's solve that. So it's 4 times x plus 10 plus 9 times x by x squared plus 10x equals to 1/2. Now transpose it, simplify it, you get 4x plus 40 plus 9x times 2 is equal to x squared plus 10x. Simplify this, we get 13x plus 40 times 2 equals to x squared plus 10x, right? For the simplification, x squared plus 10x, 26x minus 26x plus 40 minus 80 equals to 0. Simplify this further, x squared plus 8x minus 80 equals to 0. How do we break this down? 80 is equal to, again, 16 into 5, which is 4 into 4 into 5. So that is, how else can you break this up? 80, 80, 80. Have I made some error somewhere? X 64. What is the factors? 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 5. It's getting late at night here. My mind is not working properly. Let's see, what is this? That's 4 times 20. 4 times 20. 4 into 20, it's giving me 16. So I can write that as 8 into 10. Oh yeah, 8 into 10. Oh my God. Sorry guys. This is a very simple one. My mind does not seem to be working right now. So yeah, this is x square plus okay, so now we can simplify this. So we get 26x plus 80 equals to x square plus 10x. So we get x square minus 16x minus 80 equals to 0. And 16x, so this is x square minus 20x plus 4x minus 80 equals to 0. And that's x times x minus 20 plus 4 times x minus 20 is equal to 0. So we have, once we take out common, we have x minus 20 times x plus 4 is equal to 0. That means my x is either equal to minus 4 or 20. And once again, we can reject minus 4 because the time taken for anything cannot be negative. And our x is equal to 20. Now, what have they asked us to find? So they asked you to find how long would it take each pipe to fill the pool separately. So larger pipe would take x hours and the other one would take x plus 10. So x is equal to 20. So pipe A will fill in 20 hours and time for B will be equal to 30 hours. And there we go. That is our answer. Last question, guys. Um, right. Okay. So let's see how we'll go about this. At present, Asha's age is in years is two more than the square of her daughter Nisha's age. When Nisha grows to her mother's present age, Asha's age will be 1 year less than 10 times the present age of Nisha. Find the present ages of both Asha and Nisha. Okay, so let's see. At present, let's just draw a table. It's always helpful when we see these age questions to draw a table. So that's Asha and Nisha. Okay. Asha's age is two more than the square of her daughter Nisha's age. So Asha's age, let's say if Nisha's age is X, Asha's age is two more than the square of her daughter Nisha's age, right? Two more than the square of her daughter Nisha's age. So when Nisha grows to her mother's present age, okay, this is a bit tricky. So when Nisha grows to her mother's present age, right? So that means how much later will she become 2 plus x square years old? This will be how many years down the line? This will be 2 plus x square minus x years down the line, right? So because it'll take her this long to become that age. Asha's age would be 1 year less than 10 times the present age of Nisha. Okay, so when Nisha's age grows to her mother's present age, so that's these many years later. So how many years old would Asha be? She would be 2 plus x square plus 2 plus x square minus x, right? So that becomes 2x square plus 4 minus x years old. And Nisha is now equal to her mother's age in the beginning, which is 2 plus x square. Now they've told us that Asha's age right now is 1 year less than 10 times the present age of Nisha. That means it's 1 year less than 10 of x. So that means that this is 2x square plus 4 minus x is 1 year less than 10. And that's exactly what they've told us, right? So let's solve this and then I'll re-explain how we got this equation once. So that's 2x square uh, minus 11x plus 5 equals to 0. Simply factorize this as 2x square minus 10x minus x plus 5 equals to 0. So we have 2x out common, x minus 5 minus 1 times x minus 5 equals to 0, and some more space required. Yeah, I think that should be sufficient. So we have 2x. Okay, what's going wrong? Yeah. So 2x minus 1. Okay, that 2x minus 1 times x minus 5 is equal to 0. That means x is either equal to 5 or it's 1 by 2. However, can an age be a fraction ever? They've told us it's in years. So age 1 by 2 is rejected because it's told us it's a whole number, it's in years. So that means that the present age of Nisha is X years old. So present age of Nisha. So Nisha present equals to 5 years old. And Asha present is equal to what did we say? We said that this is 2 plus x square. So it's 2 plus 5 square, which equals to 27. Now, again, let's plug in our values and see if we're correct or not. So let's see. So we've been told that in when Nisha grows to her mother's present age, so when Nisha becomes 27 years old, so when Nisha becomes 27 years old, her mother will be how old? 22 plus 27, she'll be 49 years old, right? uh, because it'll take her 22 years to reach that, and 22 plus 27 is 49 years old. And they have told us that Asha's age will be 1 year less than 10 times the present age of Nisha. So 10 times the present age of Nisha is 50, and one less than that is 49. So there we go. We got our answers, and they match. And with this, we come to an end to quadratic equations, the entire chapter. Go through all the exercises, solve the chapter tests, and watch the videos properly. I've covered all the main examples, and this should be sufficient. Do try to solve them again once in your own. Thank you, and have a nice day.